We're here today with Ed Mead, Executive Director of Artemis Resources. Ed, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, David.
Go back 12 months, the company had a circa market cap of under $5 million, little cash, but a very interesting portfolio of West Australian exploration assets. What's changed and what caused that change over that 12-month period?
Look, it comes down to old-fashioned exploration. You know, the market was very difficult. I'd done as much in the way of desktop studies that I could do, and I got out on the ground with the metal detector and found significant quantities of gold. We made that announcement in about October 2016, which then inspired David Lenegas to have a look at Artemis Resources. He flew down to Australia. I showed him around all the assets, my vision of what I thought the Karratha area could actually achieve, and the great infrastructure. And he had lapped it up, and we thought, you know, we can move forward with this.
What inspired David to get involved?
When I showed him around the Karratha area and all the assets that Artemis had acquired and the Radio Hill plant, you know, he could see that the assets that have never resided in a single company before could really be put together and create a good company.
And conglomerate gold is new to the market but not new to the area?
Look, people have been finding coarse gold, nuggety gold, you know, for decades. You know, when I first went up to the Pilbara area, I noted that iron ore workers were going out in the weekend and finding, you know, thousands of dollars worth of gold, you know, with a few mates, some beer and a four-wheel drive. And when I looked around, there were no companies exploring for gold, and there were no gold mines. So it always amazed me. And you know, the work that we did in late October 2016, where we identified significant gold and conglomerates, really started to answer some of the questions about what the locals had known for a long time.
And what was the theory you were trying to test when you went up and started with the metal detector looking for conglomerate gold?
There's no tougher way to test your theories about what you think or where you think mineralisation is when you've got a company that doesn't have a great deal of money. And so, you know, went out there knowing that there'd been significant coarse gold found within the Karratha area for decades, and that, you know, there must be a source for this type of gold. And as I started to do a lot of significant work, I found that, you know, the host rock was a conglomerate where we were finding, you know, sizable pieces of gold, which, you know, reported up to, you know, to pieces that are ounces in size.
For the uninitiated, what does conglomerate gold actually mean?
Conglomerate gold is sedimentary rock that is essentially welded itself back together and is a hard rock.
Globally, where is conglomerate gold traditionally found, and how significant is it in those areas?
There's several areas in the world where there is conglomerate, gold hosted in conglomerates. The most well known of these is the Witwatersrand area in South Africa, which has produced about 40% of all gold ever produced. It's produced about 1 billion ounces, and there are about another 1 billion ounces still in reserves. There are some areas in Ghana. There are also some areas in Canada, but primarily the largest area, which has proven to be quite endowed, is the Pilbara of Western Australia.
And why is this gold type so exciting?
It's exciting because the gold is so coarse. And the morphology of the nuggets across such a large area, which is the West Pilbara, an area that's 300 kilometres east-west and 270 kilometres north-south. And around the edge of that and below, where we've indicated below the Mount Roe basalt, there's a conglomerate, and if you look at that conglomerate, you should be able to find nuggets that have a flat shape. A number of people have now been able to go out and find gold that looks exactly the same as that, which is exceptional.
And in terms of the characteristics of the gold and the ease of mining and exploration?
The ease of exploration is that you're able to very cheaply go out with a metal detector and test to see for coarse gold. This leads into being able to use the ability for geochemistry to look for gold, and also geophysics and radiometrics looking for sedimentary type of rocks. From a mining perspective, we're dealing with a deposit that daylights, that outcrops its surface, which is evidence that Purdy's reward and why we're able to actually find it. And that leads into the use of bulk sampling as a way to predict or to estimate grades.
And in terms of the other companies that have now been attracted to the area, is that a benefit to Artemis?
I think that the more companies that are involved in conglomerate exploration, is far better. It will help improve the knowledge base. It also increases the amount of information flow out to the general investor community to show that this is very real.
You recently announced a research partnership with CSIRO, one of the leading Australian research organisations. What was the theory behind it, and what do you hope to learn from it?
Yeah, look, I spent a lot of time talking to Mark Creasy, who's had a long history with the Pilbara area, and he's done a number of research pieces with CSIRO. And so, I was introduced to Dr. Robert Huff from CSIRO and started a bit of dialogue about the work that they have done up in the West Pilbara area, the work that they have done in the Witswatersrand. And we started to look at tenements that we hold that have conglomerates that sit outside a joint venture we have with Novo Resources. And we decided that would be a really good research paper to look at Artemis, controlled conglomerates, but also how they relate back to Purdy's reward and the conglomerate gold that's hosted there.
So is that relationship about better understanding the tenements and the rock types, but also helping advance your exploration and potentially your development opportunities?
Absolutely. The key thing with exploration is actually understanding your gold mineralisation, and the key here is if we understand how the gold came to become into the conglomerate, the easier it is for us to explore, also the easier it is for us to potentially mine.
Is it a reinforcement that Artemis has a long-term focus on this part of the world, not just an exploration and mine the market, but a long-term focus?
One of the things that Artemis has done in the last couple of years is we've consolidated a significant land package. We've also, as part of that, we own the only processing facility in the area. So we're actually at the moment we're in the process of refurbishing the Radio Hill processing plant, which will be a processing plant that's able to process conglomerate gold with a gecko gravity circuit on it, but it also is also a flotation plant.
And you touch on infrastructure. How important is infrastructure and the attraction of infrastructure into the Karratha mining sector?
I'd say it's critically important because we're within 25 kilometres of Karratha, which is a fairly large regional town in Western Australia. It services the oil and gas industry, it services the iron ore industry, and people can live locally. It's a 2-hour flight from Perth. So it's a place where we don't need camps, we don't need to provide anything. There are good schools in the town, so we can have a local workforce.
What are some of the key outputs you're hoping to see from the CSIRO relationship?
With the CSIRO research, we've listed a number of key questions which we believe will help assist in working out where the gold actually comes from. We've noted that clearly with most people can see that the morphology of the nuggets are fairly flattened and disc-like. We've also noted that there's a strong association with iron-rich chlorite. And we're seeing a varied size of nuggets.
Novo are clearly an important joint venture partner, but they also bring a lot of additional benefits to Artemis and the Artemis story.
Look, Novo have a great deal of experience in conglomerates where they cut their teeth up at Beedens Creek. But the Novo share register also brings a lot to the story as well, with people like Eric Sprott and Mark Creasy and companies like Kirkland Lake Gold. The investment community that follows those types of shareholders has also given a lot of exposure to the conglomerate story, and that really has assisted Artemis, in particular in North America, where we've been able to raise a significant amount of money for the conglomerate story.
And in terms of recent news, what are some of the achievements the company has been able to report?
Look, the most recent announcements that we've made are with the CSIRO, but also with the SGS Minerals laboratory and processing plant that has been that Novo secured here in Perth, and the ability to be able to process bulk samples of sort of the range of 5 to 6 tonne a lot more quickly in a day or so. One of the hardest parts over the last probably 3 months has been the slow reporting of bulk samples.
And in terms of looking forward, you're a circa $100 million market cap, 25 million cash at bank, and an exciting portfolio of assets in the Pilbara. What are the things that investors should focus on moving forward?
That we're continuing to move strongly forward with our joint venture with Novo for conglomerate gold. We're also exploring our other conglomerate gold assets at Mount Oscarvitz and at 47 Patch. We've brought in CSIRO to assist us with those. We also have a processing facility at Radio Hill, which is 25 kilometres south of Karratha, and we're looking to be able to bring that into production within about the next 6 months.
As a company, you've really relied on local interest to drive both the share price and the awareness in the company, but obviously through Novo and now the growing expansion of knowledge into the North American market, do you think investors globally are going to be taking a very keen eye on Artemis going forward?
Look, I think they are, and they also have been. We've got significant trade through the stock on the OTC in New York, and with a lot of discussions with North American investors, we did announce earlier this year that we are looking at a potential listing on the main board in Canada, which would give North American investors better access to investing in Artemis.
Ed, exciting 12 months, no doubt a lot to be excited about over the next 12 months and going forward. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, David.